Lines, I'm Frank Billingsley.
And I'm Celeste Díaz Schurman. We'll also hear my interview with Bob Fryklund, the Chief Upstream Strategist with S&P Global at last week's CERAWeek Energy Conference.
And I'm Ernie Manous. Plus, today's Frank's last show. We'll have some special guests and surprises in store for him.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Wait, this is my last show?
Yeah.
All this and more on Hello Houston right after the news from NPR and News 88.7.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. Search efforts are underway after a U.S. official and Iranian state media say an American F-15 fighter jet was shot down over Iran. The fate of the crew isn't known. This happened a day after President Trump celebrated the U.S. bombing of a bridge in Iran, saying on social media that there was much more to follow. The U.S. and Israel continue to fire at Iran, and Iran is firing back at Persian Gulf neighbors. Officials in the United Arab Emirates say that a fire broke out at a gas facility in the city of Abu Dhabi. NPR's Aya Batrawi has more.
Abu Dhabi says fallen debris from an interception sparked a fire at its Habshan gas facility on Friday, forcing the suspension of operations at what is one of the world's largest gas processing plants. The UAE says Iran has launched more than 2,000 drones and more than 470 missiles at it since the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran began 5 weeks ago. Most have been intercepted. Meanwhile, the Gulf Arab state of Bahrain has proposed a resolution to the UN Security Council that would authorize countries to take, quote, defensive measures to secure the passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
NPR's Aya Batrawi reporting. The White House is asking Congress for the largest defense budget in modern U.S. history, $1.5 trillion. The spending boost comes amid the U.S.'s more than month-long war with Iran. NPR's Daniel Kurtzleben has more.
This spending boost would be paired with a requested $73 billion in cuts to domestic spending, according to a budget summary from the White House. The annual budget request represents a blueprint of the executive branch's priorities, though Congress ultimately sets spending levels. Trump outlined his priorities during a closed-press lunch this week with religious leaders.
It's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country.
The White House posted a video of the event before deleting it. Danielle Kurtzleben, NPR News, the White House.
Unemployment in the U.S. dropped slightly in March. NPR's Scott Horsley reports businesses added more jobs than economists were forecasting.
U.S. employers added 178,000 jobs in March, offsetting big job losses in February. Healthcare saw the biggest gains, adding 76,000 jobs. About half of that reflects people who returned to work after a February strike. Construction companies, restaurants, and factories also added jobs in March, while the federal government continued to lose workers. Revised figures for the two previous months were mixed. Hiring was stronger than first reported in January, but February's job losses were bigger as well. The unemployment rate inched down in March to 4.3%. That was largely because almost 400,000 people dropped out of the workforce. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Wall Street is closed today in observance of the Good Friday holiday. This is NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Matt Harab. Election Day is tomorrow to fill a vacant seat at Houston City Council. Polls are going to open from 7 to 7 for District C, which stretches from the Heights through Montrose and Meyerland. The election was triggered after Abby Kamen resigned to run for Harris County Attorney. Artemis 2's Orion spacecraft is officially out of Earth's orbit and heading towards the moon. Last night, the spacecraft fired up its engines, moving to a speed of 24,000 miles per hour, setting it on a course for the moon. NASA's Laurie Johnson-Ramirez said in a press conference that the maneuver was, quote, flawless, and that the mission is in a great spot.
Things are going really well. I think we couldn't be more pleased with how well things are going. Right now, we're not tracking any issues of concern.
Late last night, the Artemis 2 crew spoke publicly from space for the first time, saying that their time on the Orion spacecraft has been a thrill so far. A Harris County grand jury has decided not to indict Harris County Treasurer Carla Wyatt on burglary charges. That means there was not enough evidence to move the case forward. Wyatt had been arrested after she was found inside a locked vehicle on Washington Avenue. She was seen removing items from the car, and the owner of that vehicle told police that they didn't know who she was. Wyatt has worked for Harris County for roughly 20 years and was elected treasurer back in 2022. Houston will soon have a WNBA team, and you have a chance to watch them when they take the court. Our Melissa Anahe has the latest on the revamped Comets.
Tillman Fertitta, the owner of the Houston Rockets, announced this week he's purchased the Connecticut Sun with plans to relocate to the Toyota Center. They will be renamed the Comets for the start of the 2027 WNBA season. Over the span of 12 seasons from 1997 to 2008, the Comets won championships from 97 to 2000. Fans can already secure what they're calling priority access to season tickets online at HoustonComets.com. For News 88.7, I'm Melissa Nahe.
Houston's men's pro team is back on the floor tonight. The Rockets play the Utah Jazz at the Toyota Center. There are just 6 games left in the regular season. I'm Matt Harrod, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Eric and Wendy Schmidt through the Schmidt Family Foundation, working toward a healthy, resilient, secure world for all. On the web at theschmidt.org. This is NPR.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Díaz Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
The last time we're going to hear that threesome said in the open. Oh, Frankie's going away.
I know, isn't it sad?
If you weren't with us yesterday, you missed a hot story. It's that Frank is saying goodbye.
I am. A little sabbatical, a little retirement, breaking up is hard to do, isn't it?
It is.
And
you know,
no
they
good
say
way.
that.
There's no good. It's not me, Ernie. It's you.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
There's a story running around the office that I'm a monster. That's why you're leaving.
Jerry Seinfeld used to say, you know, when your date says take care, what they really mean is take off.
Yeah.
So, Frank, take care.
Take care.
We are going to so miss you here.
I'm going to miss you. Kevin and I are just getting on the same plane as far as schedules. He's
literally and figuratively.
He retired last July. Mm-hmm. I had gone back to work, and so we want to both be retired, and see what happens. I'll probably be clawing my way back here in a month.
That's what happened last time.
Yeah. And we'll gladly take you.
Please.
Anytime you want to come and say.
We don't have any plans. I mean, we have a few trips planned, but
Well, I bring all that up because, believe it or not, some people don't listen every single day, and all of a sudden they tune in like, what? What's going on with Frank?
Going on?
Do you also like how I'm giving myself the power to hire and fire?
I know.
Allow guests.
Celeste is sitting in judgment of who's on and who's not, and when they can come.
Yes. No.
Nice.
But we do have a good show today.
We have a great show. The weather doesn't necessarily cooperate all weekend. It looks like this line of storms could be on the severe side tomorrow night. Gets out of here tomorrow night, but then leaves us with sort of a cold, cloudy, drizzly Easter day.
I was worried and all that about the rain, and then I thought the more you talk about the bad storm, no chance of like power outages and stuff. Not that
There's
bad, right?
always a chance for you can sneeze in this town and 10,000 homes have no power.
Is it that kind of level of storm or no?
I think so, because whenever you have a front coming through that's going to move through quickly, what's pushing it is wind. And wind, along with tree limbs that could fall on power lines or lightning that could affect any kind of, transformers. That's where your chances come from. So,
one of the beautiful things, not just about knowing you for all these years, but having you sit here for the last year with us, is that whenever we have a question, primarily about the weather or anything, you're right there to answer it, and you've got answers for us. So we figured on today's show, in a little bit, any questions you have for Frank Billingsley, he'll answer those.
Yes.
So coming up later in the show, in this hour, we're going to have what they're calling the AMA. When I heard it was you in the AMA, I thought American Medical Association. But actually, it was Ask Me Anything. So folks can call in and ask you anything at 713-440-8870 or email those in right now at talk@hellohouston.org.
Nothing from the 80s.
Because you don't want to talk about it or you don't remember it.
But again, as Ernie mentioned, we're going to have the AMA, and we also, at any moment, if you want to call in and chime in and either have a fun story or want to give a little, shout out to Frank, you can call us 713-440-8870. We did receive a text already this morning that says, "Dear Frank, I am Ashish Pandya, a longtime Houstonian. I loved you as our trusted weatherman and love you even more on the radio.
Aww.
You always were super enjoyable to listen to and so interesting. You are a Houston institution. I will greatly miss you. Best of luck in retirement."
Thank you, Ashish. I
That was
appreciate
very
that.
sweet.
Yeah. Sweet. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Well, you always make the joke about, you've either grown up with me, grown old with me, or grown tired of me. And you have become a true institution in this area.
Institution.
But it seems like we have another institution on the line.
Oh, my God. I'm looking at somebody on Zoom I haven't seen in person in 6 months. Dominique Sachse, what are you? Look at you.
Frank Billingsley.
You two know each other.
Yeah, we do.
I think they used to work together. Yes. Hello,
Wow.
Dominique. Welcome
Hello.
to the
Welcome to Hello,
program.
Houston.
Thanks, guys. What you don't know is that we had a slumber party. How many months? 2 months ago? Three? When was that, Frank?
You were here to see your son, and you were speaking at a women's program, I think. And you needed a fabulous high-rise, and we have your own wing. So there
I
it
know.
was.
I did.
I know.
I did.
I know.
We
It's,
had a wing, but we had a pajama party on your couch with the dogs, and it was such a good time.
Yes, my
Yeah.
dogs love Dominique. There's no question.
Oh.
All right, now how's it
I
going
love him.
How's it going up in North Houston, also known as Dallas?
the northern burb,
Yeah.
where it's cooler and drier, and you get hurricanes and we get hail. You know how that works.
Yes, yes.
We've known Frank. I've known Frank for 1,000 years. And the last year, though, I had the opportunity to actually work with him, which was a joy you got to have also. And there's a different side to Frank when he's working, but it's still Frank. He still brings all that personality and fun. Tell me a little bit about how you see him different as the coworker to the friend.
Yeah, I mean, Frank, what I love about him is his passion for what he does. So I was always fascinated with his knowledge and expertise. I mean, he could rattle off storms, years, dates. He's a walking almanac, right? And so that side always blew me away. And then he always had this intensity to him that was so fun to watch. And I kid you not, I mean, technology was not his friend. So, he's like putting together his maps, and all of a sudden computers are crashing and he's freaking out and stuff's dropping. But then all of a sudden he shows up in front of the chroma key and there he is. He's just chill Frank, who can talk about anything and everything, no matter what's falling apart, what's not popping up, all those things. And then when he gets off air, he's like, oh God, so it's just so funny.
I think we've seen a little of that over the years.
Have you seen some of that?
Yeah.
But
there's intensity.
Dominique, you really, have carved a name for yourself being outside of kind of the news area for quite a while now. I'm going to ask, what advice do you have for Frank now that he's going to kind of be
Lay it on me,
a
David.
free agent?
Retiring yet again.
But, we're not really calling it a retirement. It's kind of like Frank still wants to be busy.
It's a
Frank is
transition.
busy.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
All right, your advice.
My advice, well, you know what, guys, and you can testify to this. We live in a day and age where you no longer need news outlets, radio outlets to broadcast yourself, which is such a blessing, because if you have a message, if you have something you want to say, something you want to share, you literally just create your account and you put yourself out there. So my message to Frank is this, and to anybody watching, is that if you love to communicate, if you have something that you feel will enrich somebody's life or make them laugh or implant a nugget of information, then be compelled to use what's out there. Digital media is just fascinating to me. The fact that it was able to provide a career for me outside of news so that I got to do my thing, my way, my lane and talk to women in this space was such a beautiful surprise and a blessing. So my encouragement to Frank is, if he still feels he has a message and something to say and something to do, hey, bud, hop on your phone and do it. That's what I say to you.
That advice from someone who just said technology is not my friend.
Well, I will encourage you to get somebody to help you.
Well, because you look great. I mean, the mic, the lighting, you look casual, the background, all of it. You really pull it off well. So you could be in Rome for all I know, but or you're
honey, I'm in my at-home studio.
Exactly.
This is all DIY, by the way.
That's amazing, and you look fabulous. I love your hair.
Thank you. I didn't chop it off. I just took out the extensions and went blonder for summer. So,
and that's
Frank, you know me. Every 6 months, it's something new.
That's a shout out to our YouTube listeners. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see Dominique and see what we're talking about. If you're listening on the radio, let your mind create the pictures.
And Dominique, we're curious. What do you have kind of cooking up? Do you have any fun things coming up? Are you going to be in Houston again?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm always in Houston because my son lives there. He's a U of H student at Bauer. So I always am there to visit him. But I do have some, and I was just there last weekend, in fact, but for like a blip. I was in for a day. Some amazing projects and things that I have been working on for quite a while are coming to fruition this year. And I'm super excited. I can't quite share yet, but it's coming. Just follow my stuff, follow my handles, follow my pages, and you'll find out. But really some neat things are happening, and I'm just excited as to where this whole space has taken me. And again, it's creative. It's creative. It's an outlet, and it's a way to get in to connect to people in whatever way that you want.
If it's co-hosting with Frank Billingsley, we're through. We're not talking to you anymore.
We're done.
There's nothing planned on that.
Not.
There's nothing planned. I love following Vic, your husband, online also. He's got all kinds of projects going.
Yeah. In fact, Frank, he's up in New Jersey. At a convention up there, and right across from him is Paula Abdul, and right down the way is Brooke Shields. I'm like, oh my gosh, Brooke Shields was like my childhood icon.
Totally.
I said, you have to hit her up so I can get her on my podcast, and he's already done it. So mission accomplished.
Wow,
Yes.
that's so wonderful.
Yes,
what a
so
future.
cool.
You know, I think one of the exciting things about the future is not knowing the future. I've always said that. If you know too much about it, then if we all, that's why we were born with hope and optimism.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
That
That's
gets
right.
us up
And
every
faith
morning.
to trust in the plan and the process without even knowing. And that's the beauty, Frank, when you see it unfold. It's like, wow, I had no idea this was in front of me. And that applies to the beauty, and it also applies to the pain, because all of these things direct our steps. And we may not understand the reason in the season, as they say, but once you move out of it and you get a little perspective, then you understand why it all happened and what it led you to. So I'm with you. I used to be such a control freak and such a planner, and I had to have everything mapped out. And now I'm at this season in my life where if it's meant to be, it's going to come to me. So I'm just open and receptive, and there's like this ease and this relaxation that comes with that.
And there's our Easter message right there, ladies and gentlemen.
I also think so many people can relate to finding that little moment of, if it's meant for me, it will come for me. Because even at any season in your life, sometimes I think, especially now with social media, there's so much out there to look at, see what everybody else is doing, and feel like everybody else has it figured out. And you're like, well, So I appreciate that message.
It's meant for me, it's meant for
You
me.
bet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
You're
before-
so nice. Oh, we got to let her go.
Yeah, I was
right?
going to say, before we let you go,
Why?
I wanted to give you a moment to share a once again, because it seems like every few years we get together and wish you good luck in your future.
Yeah.
I know. I think he does this on purpose just to keep having parties.
It's
'cause
a
that's
new
one thing our
industry.
Frank loves.
A new industry for us, to farewells to Frank. We can do them every year.
Yes.
I want to give you a chance to wish your dear friend well into this next chapter.
Oh my goodness. Well, Frank's the older brother I never had. And we always kind of joke about that's the nature of our relationship. We are so much more than friends. I mean, we bring things to each other in a very deep-hearted kind of a way. So, to me, farewell. I can't even say it's a farewell. I just see Frank moving through these seasons of life, and he was with you guys for this season, and you were all blessed to be together and have that energy and have that experience together and that creativity. And now, it's time for something new. And so instead of farewell, it's more like, okay, what's next, Frank? What's coming next?
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what I'm excited about. And I love, having that thought in my heart that it's not a door closing, but it's a door opening. And I can't wait to see what that's going to be.
Oh, I love
Dominique,
you.
thank you so
Kevin
much.
says his love too, as you know.
Oh, I know. And I love him too. He was texting me yesterday. He's like, can you be on the show in 10 minutes? I'm like, wait, what? And he's retiring and wait, what is happening?
We were all caught a little off guard as this news came to us all. But Dominique, thank you so much for joining us and for doing this.
Thanks, guys. I love you so much. I love what you do. I love, any connection to Houston and just broadcasting in general. I wish you all the best. You have such a special place in my heart.
Well, thank you. And even without Frank, you can come and visit us anytime you want.
There's going to be an
I would
open
be
seat,
happy to.
Dominique.
Yeah. Have pajamas, we'll travel.
Dominique
That's
Sachse.
right.
Dominique Sachse spent a good number of years next to you on television when you were...
from 90. When I got there, she was already there doing traffic, and that was in 90. She was there from 94 until 2022, and I was there from 95 until 2024. So yeah, we were about 30 years together.
That's crazy.
Yes, but you know what? You've only had 2 co-hosts that sat right next to you for a year.
That would be us.
Yes. So if you are thinking, Dominique, you can call Ernie and I, and we can chat about how Frank's as a co-host.
That's right. It was a little different.
Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing is, and I don't think people always get it, we're not, when you do shows like this, when you do the nightly news together, you have coworkers you work with. When you're put out in front of an audience the way we are on a regular basis, a different kind of friendship tends to evolve and develop. And it does, as Dominique was saying, there is a sense of family and relationship because you have to rely on and depend on the people who sit next to you in a different way to have your back, to support you, to help you along. And so they build unique relationships.
And we were growing in the news business, Bill and Dominique and I, without cell phones, really. I mean, we had cell phones, but it was 48 cents a minute, so nobody used them. But, without cell phones and text and social media and Facebook and email even. I mean, you connected because you had to, but you didn't realize you had to. Right. Now you realize that because that was the way it happened. So I think that probably helped, create and strengthen friendships because, that was the way it was. You had to actually pick up a phone and call people.
Well, whether you sit right next to somebody every single day or you've had a chance to encounter them, work with them, see them, you've made an impact all across this city. We happen to have a caller on the line who is former city council member you may know. Dwight Boykins is on the line. Hello there, sir.
Hi, Dwight.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well.
Well, I tell you, man, I listen to you guys every day, and boy, this morning I was on my way to pick up some plants for my wife's yard, Frank. I don't call it my yard, and I heard that you were on. I said, let me call and just let this man know how much he meant to Houston, Texas. And I tell you, Frank, when I was on city council, Frank, and one year Niece Parker was mayor, and I can't recall which hurricane it was. And, man, we were trying to figure out what in the hell was going on in the city. And, boy, we turned on to you. And, boy, you just kind of calmed the storm in terms of people anxiety level, man. And I felt comfortable knowing our city was in great shape with you. And in this second chapter, I got to spend more time with you, not a whole lot, but with a good mutual friend, Angela Hernandez, who is like your sister.
Yep.
And Angela brags on you a lot, man. And just talk about what you've done. And I said, the thing about Frank is Frank never meets a stranger. I mean, he makes you feel like he's been knowing you forever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he's a wonderful man in Houston, man. I don't know what the next chapter in your life is. I hope part of it is becoming a volunteer at the Houston Livestock Show Rodeo, where all of us are right now. And I think that'll keep you busy, Frank. But I just had to call and give you your flowers today.
Well, you're very
man. Your heart is right, and you always care about this city.
Well, it's a great city, as you know, and it's led by a lot of great people, and we're lucky to have the Houstonians that love the city leading the way and leading the charge because, like any city, we have so many challenges, and like Mayor Whitmire said on the rodeo show, there are other mayors calling him. How are you doing it? Yeah. How do you get it so right? And it's people like Dwight that help get it right, and Denise Parker, and thank you, Dwight. I really appreciate you taking time to call. It's really nice.
I just had to do it, man. Well, listen, y'all take care. Houston Public Media, the best in town, and I'm going to keep supporting you guys, man.
Thank you very much, Dwight. Thank you for calling in. I think he brings up a really good point. We often think our leaders are the folks that we elect. The people we turn to in crisis are often our leadership. But what he points out is there are other people in the community that really help us through difficult situations. And you, for so many years, have been that person for so many people, especially in a region we live in where weather impacts so much of our lives. This whole community turns to you.
Well, come on. There are other weather people.
Yeah, but there are lots of names out there. Frank Billingsley, everyone knows. You've become an institution, or should be in one.
Or should be in one. You know, you last long enough. If you're last man standing, they'll know who you are, right?
Yeah. But no, and I think it's because of the trust that people have in you and the fairness and the understanding and the way you educate and explain, and you've helped all of us. I mean, we've joked about this before. I've texted you in the middle of the worst storms while you're on air to say, hey, Frank, what should I do about this? And you have time to somehow text me back
and
while
respond.
You've just been, you know.
Well, I knew you needed me, Ernie.
And again, 713-440-8870. Let's go to Toy from West University. Toy, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question for Frank?
Oh, my comment is, I wonder if Frank has ever done international folk dancing. If he has, he can do it again. We do the best in Houston, the best group. And if he hasn't, this is something new that would open up his horizon.
Well, Toy, let's find out. Have you ever done international folk dancing?
Gosh, I didn't even know it existed. That's interesting. I've done folk dancing before.
Yeah,
that's popular, but I've never done international folk dancing. But, you know, when you think about it, it probably started like in Germany, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the whole chicken and all of that.
Of course, you go to the chicken dance. There's your worldview from Frank Billingsley. Toy brings up what we're calling an Ask Me Anything question. We're going to do a whole segment of that coming up in just a little bit. So if you've got any question for Frank, if you want to know if he's done international folk dancing or anything else, give us a call. We'll be taking those questions in just a little bit.
Coming up on Hello Houston, we're going to hear my last interview that I had at CERAWeek about the Energy Edition. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
Meet Dio Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
There's food, there's shelter.
I'm Scott Detrow. We'll hear from an outreach team in San Francisco working to provide shelter and services. On All Things Considered from NPR News.
You can hear that this afternoon starting at 3 o'clock.
This week on It's Been a Minute, put on your pantsuit because we are opening up the boardroom doors for a quarterly review, pop culture style.
And on Wildcard, comedian Julio Torres on why he's never felt competitive.
I don't think the joy I'm seeking is a limited resource.
That's on Wildcard, and It's Been a Minute from NPR.
You can listen to that tomorrow night at 6.
Listen here for a deep dive conversation with music author Jonathan Gould on the history of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Talking Heads.
I would say the dynamic tension between the four of them, having to do with music and personality in that way, is the distinctive quality of the band.
We listen to and talk about Talking Heads right here real soon. Saturday evening at 7 on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro. Introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro fare system replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for bus and rail fares. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, presenting actor John Malkovich in The Music Critic, a comedic concert blending classical music and commentary featuring works by Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven. April 14th at Jones Hall. More at houstonsymphony.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Díaz Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
This year's CERAWeek by S&P Global in Houston, which wrapped in March, centered on the theme convergence and competition, highlighting the intersection of energy, technology, and geopolitics. And with more than 12,000 participants from around the world, there was a lot to discuss. I spoke with an energy expert, Bob Fryklund, who is the Vice President and Chief Strategist for the Upstream Energy Group at S&P Global Energy, about what's shifting in the energy landscape.
Joining me now is Bob Fryklund, the Chief Upstream Strategist with S&P Global. Bob, thanks for joining me.
Celeste, it's my pleasure. It's a very exciting week here once again in Houston.
I would say there's a lot of conversation going on. So, Bob, I really would just want to start with, where are we at in this moment? How would you describe the current state of upstream oil and gas? Are we looking at something that feels stable to you, or does it feel fragile?
First of all, maybe we should define what that is, right? Oftentimes that confuses people a little bit of what we mean about it. Right. And when we think about upstream, we think about the idea of when we first come up with an idea of where oil or gas might be, to then taking that all the way out to the actual sales of it, to either a midstream company or an exporter or somebody who's going to buy it. And it evolves then really from discovery to production.
So when we're looking at from discovery to production, there is a lot of questions, obviously, about long-term production, stability. We're looking at investment. There's a lot of high-level conversations happening here at CERAWeek. So for our listeners, how does it translate in practical terms?
It's interesting. We kind of call it the more with less doctrine. And when you look at the industry right now, it's a very interesting time. We have fewer companies that are actually doing exploration and looking for oil and gas. Mm-hmm. We have not only fewer companies, but fewer smaller companies that used to be the ones that helped us with the frontier exploration. So those folks are gone. More than our analysis in S&P shows 50% of those people are gone. So to put that in perspective, we used to have over 6,000 here in the United States. So we have a lot less of those folks. They're also playing in fewer places in the world. We look at only 100 basins in the world right now, out of over 2,000. And so the Permian, the United States has more than 100 basins itself. But most of the exploration, most of the activity here goes from Alaska all the way down to the Gulf. We go from Texas all the way up almost to the New York area. We actually have production in New York. People forget about that.
Right.
But and so it's a very interesting time when you have fewer players, they're in fewer basins, and then of course the money part. When we think about the money part of it, companies have using less dollars than they had. They're keeping their percentages, the big guys are, more or less the same. But all that together creates kind of an interesting problem in that we need to continue to replace our resources. Because the interesting thing about resource plays, gold, silver, any of those commodities, as soon as you harvest it, you have to replace it because your value of your company goes down by whatever you've harvested. So there's a replacement game that's constantly going on. Now, we can actually get more out of those existing barrels by efficiency.
Yep.
We can also get more by doing things from a performance standpoint that's related to using artificial intelligence. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of different ways for us to we call it like squeezing the lemon, to try and get those last drops.
Right. And so you talked about artificial intelligence. You talk about essentially there are fewer players in the industry, but I would assume that the demand continues to go up.
that's another one of the sort of dilemmas, right? If you think about it. So our demand here globally right now, if we think about oil, is about 103 million barrels a day.
Yep.
The United States, thanks to the shale revolution, and specifically a lot the Permian, we are producing over 13.4 million barrels a day. So to put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of almost 2.5 of the UAE, of the Emirates. It's the equivalent, it's more than Brazil. So it would put us one of the top producers in the world and in OPEC. Very few could do what we can. Right now, we're actually producing more than any of the other OPEC members.
So then, Bob, when we look at a conversation that's been happening within the traditional oil and gas industry around the energy transition, where are we at right now in the U.S.? What role is traditional oil and gas playing in the greater landscape within the geopolitical situation?
There's a couple of interesting things about right now with this crisis. This is the greatest supply shock, not a demand shock, but a supply shock. And what we mean by that, just think of when you think of COVID, that was a demand shock. People stopped doing things, so we didn't need oil. This is a supply shock. Everybody needs oil. The United States is a fantastic place. We don't have to worry about gasoline rationing. We don't have to worry about running out of supply of gas, natural gas. We're in a good spot. We have jet fuel. Other countries, because they don't have storage like we do, because they don't have the same kind of production that we have, either oil or gas or products, they're having a hard time, particularly in Asia. And so that's what really, when you look at the U.S., what we've been able to do. Now, from going forward, and we think about how we move future, the next 20 or 30 years or more, there's no question that we will continue to use oil and gas. It's in everything. If you think about other places where it's used in vaccines, it's used in Tylenol, it's in everything. Plastics and the products of petroleum are there. So it's an integral part of our life.
So in practical terms, what does that mean for the everyday consumer? Is this where they're going to be seeing it at the pump?
They're seeing it at the pump because, it's a global market, right? And so the prices were sold on the global market. We have West Texas Intermediate that's different than Brent crude. It's different than the crude. We also have prices in the Middle East. It's different in that sense. But what happens then when there's a shortage in this sense, and if you want to put it in perspective, when you think of it, 20 million barrels a day, roughly, or it's actually 21, actually go through the Strait of Hormuz. And if you take that offline, and it's not all offline because some of it's going out through Saudi on the other side, and some of it can potentially go elsewhere. But that's a lot, right? If you do the math, you're looking at 20% of the, and the same thing for LNG, for natural gas, liquefied natural gas. We're looking at 20% of that's offline right now. And so the markets then, for the countries that are the buyers and consumers of that, are trying to find that supply. And so that's increased the price because just like anything else that's in shortage, people are willing to pay a little bit more for that, right? And so that's why it's become a global problem. Now, where it starts to hit the U.S., then you're exactly right. It's on a temporary basis. Yeah, it's at the gasoline pump. Natural gas, though, it shouldn't be the same difference because we're not importing natural gas by and large. We do bring some in from Canada, but by and large, we're not subject to the global market price. We have Henry Hub, which is a place over in Louisiana, where that's our standard for the pricing for U.S. natural gas. And that's actually below $3 right now. It's, I think, today maybe around $2.80 or so.
Right.
So we have not seen that bounce up. Globally, people in Europe, people in Asia, it's a big effect. So that's gone from $10 to almost $30 for gas equivalent. So it will start to squeeze them on an inflationary way, and it'll start to hit their economies. They will also start to, at some point, have issues with the kinds of fuels that they are access to, because the fuel from the Middle East mostly goes to refiners. They refine it into products, and those products get shipped everywhere.
Right.
South Korea, when you think about it, provides right now a lot of the jet fuel and gasoline that goes to California, because California have shut down all the refineries. Well, not all, but many of them.
Right.
And so that's a big issue for them.
Bob, I want to take it back a little bit. And when we look at traditional oil and gas, a lot of times, even here at CERAWeek, for the last couple, 3, 4 years, the conversation has always revolved around energy transition. There's always been a certain level of volatility within the industry. When we see what happened 3 weeks ago in Iran, was anybody prepared to see this type of situation?
The shorter answer is no. But what we do is scenario planning. S&P has some of the world's greatest scenarios that look at things. We cannot attribute it to an individual action,
right?
But we do look at things that might happen in that case. But the thing that oil and gas people are used to commodity cycles,
yeah,
it's nothing new.
Right.
So what we do is we adapt very quickly to those situations. We generally know we're going to outlast them. And we all have contingency plans,
yeah,
on what to do. So it's not affecting the industry right now. Where it might start to affect the industry if this goes on for a long period is we'll start to see cost inflation go up again because of materials from overseas and other things that are involved, right?
Do you think that this has been a reality check in general for the industry, and how and what the definition of energy transition means?
We don't use energy transition at S&P. We use energy addition. You need all of the above. It's clear. Most of the oil and gas companies are involved in some way or the other in wind or solar. Many are involved in hydrogen. We're involved in carbon capture and storage. We look for ways to deliver energy to our customers. We look to try to find ways to do it cheaper and at a lower carbon footprint. And so you'll find companies that are electrifying out in the Permian Basin in the Midland area are building power plants to electrify the rigs, production facilities, and everything else there, so that they're not burning gas, they're not flaring gas. So that's a critical thing. They may be using wind or solar for that electricity. You'll start to see at some point here down the road where we'll use small nuclear, the SMRs, to help us with power. So we're very creative. We're a business that's driven on just constant cost management.
Bob, I actually really appreciate your perspective, but I really am curious, what do you think the average person that is not in the industry should be looking for when they look and they hear the news and they see what's happening and they hear about the oil and gas industry?
The biggest thing right now everybody's watching is the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep.
SOH, some people call it for short, right? But the Strait of Hormuz, that's the choke point for the world right now. U.S., yes, we'll come out of things much better than everyone else, but it's a global economy. And so we hope for that to get solved quickly in a way that everybody can move forward. When we think about the industry itself, outside of that, it's how we go forward in the upstream business is really about finding new barrels, adding new barrels that are helpful for energy for everybody around the world. There's a lot of countries now that those that are in the exploration business, whether it's Guyana, Namibia, all over the world, many countries have huge economic benefits from taking the resources, right? Guyana is going to go from one of the poorest countries in our hemisphere to one of the richest, just because they've done a great job working with their partners to harvest their endowment of resources, one of the largest discoveries in more than a decade. So keep watching that. The explorers are out there looking for the next Guyana, and we're hoping to do really great things to help people understand more about our industry, which you're spot on. A lot of people don't understand what we do and how ingrained we are with everything, whether it's an electric vehicle or whether it's the clothes we have. It's everywhere.
Yeah. Bob Fryklund is the Chief Upstream Strategist with S&P Global. Bob, it was great to have you. Thank you.
Coming up, we are going to do a little Q&A. And ask me anything.
Dun, dun, dun. But only for Frank.
With Frank. Plus a
Don't
surprise.
Ask me anything. Ask me anything I can answer on public radio.
No math questions.
Nothing's off limits. No, I'm just kidding. Plus a surprise guest. So have your questions ready. Hello Houston continues after the break.
Meet Damola, songwriter, world-class violinist, and award-winning multi-genre artist. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. Visit ridemetro.org/Damola to learn more about his ride.
And her coach to talk about how she beat the record and how she finds her flow state on the court. Join me, David Green, for WHYY's Sports in America.
You can hear it this Sunday at 5.
Hi, I'm John Donvan, host of Open to Debate, where we bring you open-minded discussions and debates about the issues affecting our lives. Everything from science and tech to politics, culture, and foreign policy. In our divided nation, we feel it's more important than ever for people to be open-minded, open to disagreement, and open to listening to the other side. Join me in being open to debate.
Sunday night at 10 p.m. on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College of Medicine. Baylor's work centers on advancing health and medicine through research, education, and patient care.
Tonight on Houston Public Media TV 8, after a new episode of Party Politics at 8, enjoy part 2 of Martha Graham Dance Company, We Are Our Time, and experience the bold vision that sparked a revolution in dance. Tonight at 8:30 on TV
8. And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manous, Celeste, Díaz, Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
I'm floored.
Yeah, in case you haven't heard how that could be, today marks Frank Billingsley's last day on this show here at Hello Houston. And with him so soon retiring, we figured it was now as a good time as any to let you all call in to Hello Houston with your Ask Anything questions for Frank. What's on your mind? What do you want to know? What hasn't he told you in the last year that you're still wondering about? Give us a call to find out. But what we were wondering about, who was going to be our surprise guest in the studio, we know now.
I know we do know now.
Would you like to introduce your dear friend and surprise
completely
guest?
Surprised, Derrick Shore from Houston Life and, of course, KPRC. I'm so flattered you came here.
I wouldn't miss it.
And where were you from? Where were you this morning?
I was waking up from having my very first colonoscopy. I'm 45 years old now.
Dun, dun,
Yes.
And I had a message on my phone from producer William, and he said, "Hey, can you make it here?" And I said, "Absolutely." So, this was my quick change. Frank, you're one of my favorite people. And do your listeners know about your tattoo? Because that's has that ever come up in the past year? Okay, just making sure.
Wow.
But I do want to say, just for awareness purposes, that is fabulous because March we just got out of Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And so thank you for bringing attention
And 45 is not too young.
It's not. Well, that's the guideline now. That's when insurance will pay for it. I didn't have to pay a dime out of pocket. It was reduced from the age of 50 to now 45 because the instances have been increasing among young people. Clean as a whistle. I did have a couple small polyps, but that's for another day.
The hardest part's the prep. You know, I mean, that's the hard part. Yesterday, when you were prepping and probably drinking Gatorade and
no big deal.
Miralax.
Yeah, you have to talk to me because when I get to 45, I'll have to do it
one
too, so
day
you'll have to
in
let
your
me know.
distant future,
In the
Ernie, you
distant
might.
future.
But we also want to welcome you to the conversation. If you have a question or just you want to send Frank buddy over
or
here.
Derrick Shore.
Or chat with Derrick Shore. If you want to send Frank some well wishes, you can call or text 713-440-8870.
Yes. Have I talked about my tattoo on the air? I don't
No.
know.
Celeste mentioned it before.
Well,
I
I
was
think-
surprised to find out you had one.
Well, what happened was it was during a break. And there's so many times during our breaks where we chit-chat about things and then we jump into the news. And so we don't have time to chit-chat about Frank's tattoo. So talk to us, Frank, about it.
Oh, he's
now we have
covered
time.
He's like a sailor, like a biker.
You turn 50, you do a lot of silly things. And I had scars on my back. I have scars on my back from an operation when I was a kid. And they're pretty significant. And I was like, always a little self-conscious on the beach. And I'm like, I could get a tattoo to cover those scars. And so I did.
Tiny little butterfly.
Yeah, it's a snow leopard the size of a pumpkin.
The size of a snow leopard. Of an actual snow leopard.
And for about a hot minute, I had an earring in my ear back in 1995 or 4.
Oh my gosh, that is very 1995.
When I was
That was the decade.
I know you have earrings.
Well, I took mine out for the colonoscopy today, but usually I have 4 earrings in my ear.
Why can't you have?
You can't have any jewelry on.
No.
Like any surgical procedure, you have to take all your jewelry off, Ernie.
So we do
One day.
still have an AMA going on, and we just got a fabulous text for Frank. This person says, "Congrats, Frank, you've earned it. Enjoy retirement. However, never say never. Maybe a political future. What do you think, Frank? Now that you've announced that you have a tattoo, you're going to get into politics?
I don't want to run for office.
Has that ever been on your agenda?
But as media people, we haven't really been able to support openly other
So now you
candidates. So now I can. So maybe I will.
You've always been kind of the unofficial mayor of Galveston, though. If y'all have ever had the pleasure of going in public with Franklin, you know that people stop him right and left. And being in Galveston, where he and his husband Kevin have a home, it's so much fun going out because people, obviously, they say nice things. They love your personality, your wit, your humor, all of it. But they also come up to Frank and say, hey, you saved my life. Or you helped my family get out of harm's way. Or I remember when you were up in that helicopter talking to people about, this block and that cross street, and was my house still there? Yeah. I mean, it truly is remarkable, Frank. I think if you ever wanted to run for office,
that would be the shoe-in?
99% of the vote would be yours.
Well, they gave me a key to the city, but then they changed the locks. So.
Hate it when
Okay,
that
Derrick,
happens.
do you remember first meeting Frank?
Absolutely. It's been almost 10 years.
Wow.
I had moved here from Los Angeles. I didn't know a single person in Houston. Texas was not on my radar. This show was not part of my life's game plan. And I remember it was probably the 4 or 5 p.m. newscast. I don't know if you remember this, Franklin. But Frank was doing the weather. There were a couple anchors at the desk. And the moment there was time for Frank to walk over to me, he did just that. He walked right up to me, put out his hand, introduced himself. And I thought, you know what? I think Houston's actually going to be okay, because moving to a new city is scary enough.
Right.
But when you take a very public job, people might hate you. People might be horrible. They might call the station or send emails. And I had no idea what was ahead. But meeting you, Frank, I don't know if I've ever conveyed to you how meaningful that was, because you were kind and welcoming. And you all know that Frank is the type of guy who you run into him and you feel like you've known him forever, not just because you've seen him on TV, but because he has that warm, authentic, you see what you get.
Je ne sais quoi.
It is. It really is that X factor, for sure. So that was 10 years ago, Ernie.
Wow. Well, you and Brandon both have been such good friends to me and Kevin that it was one of the best handshakes I've ever had.
Really?
We did get another text. And this one's from Rich from Baytown. And this is for Frank. Bon voyage. My question. I understand how global warming is affecting the Earth globally. But what is the direct mechanism that is causing Houston to be hotter? A warmer Gulf, more westerly winds, less northern winds, etc., or all of the above?
It's my birthday candles.
There's so many on the cake now.
A lot of it has to do with the Pacific getting warmer and creating these heat domes that come in and stay put. That's part of it. I'm not going to get into science right now, but that's a big part of it.
We get a weird question here. I don't know if there's a story behind this. What cologne is he using now that Frank Los Angeles is no longer being made?
That's no longer being made. I wear Tom Ford. But he makes about 40 different kinds.
Well, let me tell you about the cologne. The first day you started working here? Frank and I were in a meeting, and I just kept getting this whiff. And I was like, what is that? This is amazing. And I asked you, I said, Frank, what cologne are you wearing? And you were like, well, let me tell you. He wrote it down. He texted Kevin. I mean, I think the next day, Dan and I were at Tom Ford. I was like, I want this.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted me to smell like Dan or Dan to smell like me.
Well, that's for another day, Frank. That's for another time. Don't worry, Kevin. Or Dan.
Let's grab a couple calls off the line. If you want to give us a call, 713-440-8870. Terry Estes is a friend of Frank's on the line.
Yeah, she was here. She's the lady a friend of ours that went to Guatemala. And
say hello to her.
Yeah, hi, Terry.
Hi, Frank. Lawrence and I are wishing you all the best in your retirement. And I'm so happy that you're going to have all this free time now, because now you, along with Celeste and Ernie, can all go to Guatemala with me.
There you go.
Terry,
as soon as they finish the 4 seasons, we're in.
The White Lotus.
Sign us up, Terry. I'm in with you.
White Lotus,
I know
Guatemala.
you are, sweetheart. Yeah. I've already sent you the dates.
Yes.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, love to both of you.
713-440-8870. How about Chris from the Heights has an AMA? Chris, what's on your mind?
Hi there, Frank. I wanted to wish you the best in your retirement.
Thanks.
And ask you, what was the best year of your working life and the worst year of your working life?
And watch it, because you have people from a couple different years of your working life sitting at this table.
I think probably the best
That's a good
was
question.
what Derrick referred to when it was a horrible moment, Hurricane Ike, but it was the best to be there for people, because that's what it's all about. When we all of us do what we do ultimately to be part of the community and to really help people. And those flyovers with that helicopter in Galveston, people still do talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And that was now almost 20 years ago. But that, when you moved somebody's, world, and help them get through something, it's very rewarding to your career. And so that was one of the best moments anyway.
Yeah.
The worst was when I was going from Channel 13 to Channel 2. It was a really hard decision. I'd been offered a job in Dallas, and I had to decide, am I going to go try in Dallas, or I'm going to go across the street and compete with Channel 13 that had brought me here? Because I'm a kind of a loyal guy, but not that loyal. So
I learned you can only get about a year out of him when he promises you something. I don't know.
On YouTube, Sean Radigan says, Costco reopens in Puerto Vallarta, and Frank immediately puts in his 2 weeks.
It is right on the way from the airport to the romantic zone.
That's
Costco.
Yeah, we have a nice place down there.
Yeah.
So,
what else do we have coming in?
Shelley Arnold is from Galveston. Shelley's a friend of
line.
mine. Hi, Shelley was the lady that made Memorial Park the last 10 years what it is today. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot to owe. We owe Shelley a lot. Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Frank. Hey, everybody. I love your show. And you had Chris Ballard the other day, and he's the CEO now. And he's fabulous. I hope y'all see why Memorial Park Conservancy brought him in. But Frank, I just wanted to thank you for all that you've done for Houston, and then specifically how well you treated Memorial Park and Memorial Park Conservancy during my 11 years there, 12 years there. You gave us shout outs, you came, you worked our events, you donated time and energy and effort, and you're giving me a lot of credit for making Memorial Park how it is. It takes a proverbial village, and there are donors and there are advocates, and I'd call you, you're probably a donor too, but I'd call you an advocate and a friend to the park and to me. And so thank you so much for that. Thanks for all you do for the broader community with things like that.
Hey, ultimately it all does more for me than I do for it. So, but thank you, and thank you for your hard work on that. That project out there is in good hands now. But boy, you really turned it around. I mean, Shelley took it from like a $500,000 budget to $50 million.
Wow!
And that's why you see those land bridges and the tunnels and the
yes.
blades and all of that.
It's incredible. As a runner, I spend a lot of time there, and just up until this point, it is, I would say, exactly the way I want it. want it to be. I'm excited about the Grove and what's to come, but just the fact that they were able to take this, just a simple running path. Now there are so many elements when you go to Memorial Park that you wouldn't recognize before.
So, Shelley, thank you very much for calling.
It's a crown jewel of our city.
And Derrick, seeing how much fun we have here, is it time to pack it in the TV and come fill this empty seat?
This is kind of nice. The
Oh,
studio is a good temperature. It's
I'm not
comfortable.
I'm not quitting.
Fabulous. We want to thank you all for your comments. You can keep those coming in at 713-440-8870. All of these well wishes for Frank. But coming up, we're going to continue discussing today's top headlines. We're going to also talk with author and teaching pastor Sean Palmer. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Díaz Schurman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro. Introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare system replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for bus and rail fares. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system.
Listen to be immersed.
Some Salvadorian rum, some horchata.
Listen to be transported.
After a 3-hour flight, you land in Guantanamo.
Flight attendants prepare for arrival.
Listen to get perspective.
And if that's what mattered, what didn't matter? What was just noise?
Listen to All Things Considered from NPR News.
Weekdays beginning at 3 p.m. on News 88.7.
Overcast, 78 degrees. This is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. It's 12:01.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. U.S. officials say an F-15 fighter jet was shot down over Iran, and numerous videos show what appear to be American search and rescue efforts to find the crew of the plane. NPR's Jeff Brumfield has more.
One video shows 2 helicopters and a refueling aircraft flying low over Iran. NPR was able to geolocate the video to a bridge in Khuzestan province. Numerous other videos posted online appear to show what look like similar aircraft flying in the region. Iranian state media posted photos of wreckage from what appears to be an American F-15 fighter aircraft. The F-15 carries a crew of 2. In March, another American fighter jet was struck by an Iranian missile. The pilot in that incident sustained shrapnel injuries but was able to return safely to base. Jeff Brumfield, NPR News.
The U.S.-Israeli war in Iran is putting President Trump at odds with European leaders who have refused to intervene. Some won't let the U.S. use their airspace or military bases. That has Trump again threatening to pull the U.S. out of NATO. Dan Baer is a former ambassador to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe during the Obama administration and is now with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. He says Trump's comments undermine the core of NATO. Trust.
What NATO needs in order to work, in order to be effective to defend U.S. interests, is for allies to know and to be able to believe that an attack on one is an attack on all. And they need to know that, and adversaries need to know that. So when President Trump undermines that trust, he weakens NATO and makes it less able to defend U.S. interests as well as the interests of all other allies.
That's Dan Baer speaking on NPR's Morning Edition. UPS says it will continue offering drivers thousands of dollars to resign across the rest of the country. This comes after the delivery giant pulled the program offer in 13 central region states, including Michigan, Illinois, and Kentucky. From member station WABE, Marlon Hyde has more.
UPS says its latest buyout program, where eligible drivers can accept $150,000 to resign, was well received by its employees. Over 30 Teamster local unions in its central region filed grievances against the Atlanta-based company, claiming the offer violates their contract. In a statement, UPS denies these claims and continues to engage with the local unions in the central region. In February, a federal judge rejected the Teamsters' request to block the workforce reduction program. UPS says it will continue to offer buyouts to drivers in the remaining states as it moves to slash 30,000 positions this year. For NPR News, I'm Marlon Hyde in Atlanta.
And you're listening to NPR News from Washington.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. Artemis 2 is officially leaving the Earth's orbit and on its way to the moon. It's the first time a crewed mission has done so in more than 50 years. News 88.7's Michael Adkison explains.
Artemis 2 successfully fired up its engines for the translunar injection burn. The spacecraft is now officially on a course to swing around the moon. The 4 astronauts who were on that spacecraft spoke publicly for the first time from thousands of miles from the Earth. Here's Commander Reed Wiseman speaking about the weight of the moment.
We have been to the moon before in 1968 through 1972. It's been a long time since we've been back. And I got to tell you, there is nothing normal about this. Sending 4 humans 250,000 miles away is a Herculean effort, and we are now just realizing the gravity of that.
NASA called the maneuver flawless in a press conference in Houston on Thursday. Early signs indicate the spacecraft is on track to break the record for the furthest distance traveled ever. I'm Michael Atkinson, News 88.7.
The Texas Kazakh Foundation will celebrate Nowruz on Sunday. It's the Central Asian and Persian New Year. Houston is home to one of the largest Kazakh populations in the U.S., according to the foundation. Barek Osman is the foundation's president. He says they want to share their culture with the wider community while also integrating in the United States' broader culture.
We want to become a part of the U.S. culture. At the same time, bring that's good values from our country.
The event will take place from 1 to 6 p.m. Sunday at the GSH Event Center. And in sports tonight, the Astros are back on the field to take on the Oakland Athletics. This is going to be the first of a 3-game series for the Stros, who have won their last 5 games. The Astros are in first place in the American League East Division. They have those 5 wins in a row and 2 losses that happened at the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, the Rockets will welcome the Utah Jazz into the Toyota Center this evening. Houston has just 6 games left in the regular season before the NBA playoffs begin. It's 83 degrees on the University of Houston campus. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. RWJF is a national philanthropy working toward a future where health is no longer a privilege but a right. Learn more at rwjf.org.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Díaz Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
Welcome back to Frank Billingsley. This is your life.
Oh my gosh, I didn't expect any
like.
of this. I know. I'm much more humble than people probably think.
Are you?
No.
You really are.
No, I do think, Derrick was absolutely right. I felt like the first time you and I met, I was so surprised at just kind of how nice you were. You were just super chill. I'll be honest with you. You were just super I'm here. It's cool. What's up? Hey, so what do you do here? And I just remember it being so easy to chat with you. And that's not always the case for people when they've had such a long and successful career in any industry. And so the fact that you are not just in, somebody who has made a name for themselves within a regular industry, but also a very public name, and that you were so kind and just genuine.
Everybody gets a chance.
Yeah.
To be nice. It's just, what is it? The old line, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yeah.
For
those of you just joining us and have no idea what we're talking about,
we're full of bromides today.
Frank has decided that, you know what, he's going to enjoy living as opposed to working.
There you go.
But you have enjoyed working. That's what I think is so wonderful about it, is that, and of course, all of us, there's moments when it's a chore to do a job. But when you've gotten to do what it is you do so well, you always you radiate joy doing it. And I think that's a big part of it.
Well, we're lucky that we're in an industry that you get feedback pretty quick. So you know if what you're doing matters. You know, there are a lot of people that, I mean, think about the guy that drives the ambulance to get somebody to the emergency room. He never hears from that person that he drove and saved their life. He hopes he did, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't get thanked even. They do great work, but we take them for granted. Right. We're in an industry where we do our work and we get emails, some bad, but a lot good. A lot of nice things are said. And so it's I think that drives us to keep doing it in a way.
Celeste and I were joking about this morning that, you know, whenever we get the positive, we're like, they're so smart. They're so wise. You know, our audience, they know. And when we get the negative one, we're like, oh my God, who are these dumb people? They don't know anything. They can't figure anything out.
And we talk to each other about it. Like, oh, Ernie, that's not true.
Oh, no, not at all. It's funny how we weight. But I think sometimes I weight the negative ones much more highly than the positive ones.
I think you are very normal for that. I think a lot of people do. But you know who we want to join now?
Who?
Our very own station manager, Laurie Johnson-Ramirez, is on the line.
Oh,
and she's joining us now. Hi,
Laurie.
The
lady who hired me and interviewed me.
Hey, guys. Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, a creator of the show.
Somebody decided, excited that somebody decided to let me on the show. Thank you. You guys, well, I just wanted to call and say thank you to Frank. What a great year this has been. I am so proud of the work that the entire Hello Houston team has done. You know, you all know how the sausage gets made. Radio looks easy and is tough behind the scenes. And to launch a brand new show on all these different platforms with an entirely new team and make it a success, you've done a great job. And Frank, you have been absolutely essential and integral to that. We're so grateful that you lent us your time and your talent, your creativity and your humor and your joy for this past year and a half to help us get this show out the door. And I'm so happy for you and your next chapter and being able to enjoy your retirement and traveling and being with your husband. And just wanted to not let this moment pass without saying thank you and great job. And, you know, I'm a lifelong native Houstonian, so I've grown up. I'm sorry, Frank, I know you hear this all the time. I grew up watching Frank. I did. You've been my broadcast companion for my entire life. And I thank you for everything you've contributed to the Houston community.
Well, it's been a pleasure, obviously, and it's been a real interesting. Watching technology is something else, and it goes so quickly, and you have to be really on top of it to make it work right. And HPM, Houston Public Media, has found this platform that I think commercial television still hasn't quite conquered. They have TV. But they're like, what do we do with digital? What are we supposed to do with streaming? What do we do with the online stuff? And what do we do with a website? But Houston Public Media keeps their website very navigable. You just get right through it. You don't have a bunch of commercial stuff that you have to click on. It's informative. You can trust it. And it's local, and you know what's going on in the community. So it's a great website. And then you put a good Houston Matters and Hello Houston. You put two great local shows on to bring people their community that are also on YouTube, that also become podcasts. I think we're meeting people where they are, probably better than commercial television. And for public TV, which has always sort of been, that's where they have Sesame Street. You know, it's really coming into its own.
Do you want to stay on as just our spokesperson?
Yes.
You know?
Tune in now, 88.7.
Laurie, thank you for calling in and sharing.
Absolutely. Happy retirement, Frank.
Thank you. Let's still do lunch, Laurie.
Laurie Ramirez is Houston Public Media's station manager, and thrilled that she could join us.
Yeah, we all went to Brasserie 19, remember?
Yes, I remember.
When I was bucking for the job.
Yeah, but you know what? It was no bucking. You know, we knew we wanted Frank Billingsley, and we got Frank Billingsley. So.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
We do continue to get quite a few comments on YouTube. Wine Goddess says, Frank, I know you like wine, but how do you feel about sangria? I can help you fill some of that free time you're going to have on May 7th 7th, Ernie can tell you a little bit about it.
It's the Sangria Festival. You want to come judge with me?
You know what? If I'm in, I'm in.
Okay, if you're in, you're in. That's a great.
We'll have to look at our new retirement schedule. You'll have to talk to my social secretary, Mr. Kevin Gilliard.
I'll have to call Kevin and find out if you can make it.
Yes.
You know, when Laurie was talking about your tenure in weather. When you started, was it like a felt board and you put little like felt stars?
It was
and
a
rains?
magnetic board, yeah. And I also had Pentel markers, and we would draw fronts.
Yeah.
And then you would take the camera would take a picture of the satellite. The satellite picture would come down twice a day from the government on a wet fax, and you had to let it dry. So you had these pegboards where you would let all the maps dry. They take a picture of the satellite, and then they would put it in still store. Yeah. And you would say, and now let's take a look at the national satellite, because that's all you had. And it would be 12 hours old, but that's all you had to go with. Mm-hmm. We had a radar that was sort of a regional radar, and it was about 15 minutes old.
And it wasn't a weather dog.
No. And even when I went to Channel 2, we were the first to have our own live radar in the market. And it was instant as opposed to being 6 minutes old. The National Weather Service radar was still 6 minutes before it got put together and got put on TV. And that's why everybody started getting their own live radars. Now you can get on your phone and it's pretty much instant.
It's funny. I think about the weather center you've worked in, and now here you have your laptop. Yeah. And you're still giving us the weather. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But don't forget, the federal government has to keep the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center alive. Mm-hmm. And these cuts that they tried, it's like people saying, well, I don't need farmers. I have a grocery store. And I don't need weathermen and weatherwomen. I have an app on my phone. Yeah. Well, who the heck do you think goes through all of that and gives you a forecast?
Who the heck?
Heck?
Frank Billingsley.
No,
does.
I even get it from the government. The National Weather Service folks are terrific.
And again, 713-440-8870. If you would like to call and have some well wishes for Frank, you can give us a call or send us a text. We have a YouTube comment from Noah Espinosa who says, Frank, as I've said before, you are one of my role models in this world. So I wonder, who did you look up to when you were a young man, and how have they shaped you?
Well, it's funny. As far as weather people, I grew up in Birmingham, and the only weather people were females. And so they were the weather girls, right? Horrible term, and you would never use it today. But there weren't meteorologists. That happened after Vietnam, and people were coming back from the military, and there were a lot of trained weather people that didn't have jobs, but they were meteorologists from the Air Force or the military branches, and they're the ones that kind of started the trend. And then the Weather Channel started in 1981, and they were bringing as many different weather people to Atlanta as they could. But I didn't have any weather role models. But I looked to the news models, and of course Walter Cronkite was on, Frank Reynolds was on, Tom Brokaw and John Chancellor. So those guys, I love Jessica Savage. Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Linda Ellerby from here, who I actually know. I used to play bridge with Linda Ellerby's first husband's mother, a woman named Jerry Veselka, taught me a lot about bridge. But Linda and Jessica were big role models. But Mary Tyler Moore. Just what she was doing, and the women that were making strides in broadcast television were terrific to say, hey, I can do this. And it was hard. You thought you had 3 channels in PBS, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How does anybody get to be on TV? Now you could put yourself on TV.
Everybody's on.
Back
Dominique
then, it was like, how in the world
earlier.
do you get to be on TV? And so I was really lucky that that I was at a small school that had a TV station and a radio station. And I got to do both of those and write for the paper and all of it. It was journalism, broadcasting, all of it. And then this WDBJ at Channel 7 in Roanoke, Virginia, had an internship. And I did that my senior year for 6 weeks, got a tape together. They called me at the end of the summer and they said, do you want to be a weatherman? I said, I don't know all 50 states. I knew we had 50. I just didn't know where they all were. Some of you probably still don't. But I started learning from there.
And Noah Espinosa says, this is more of a request. Please be with us at News and Brews this next coming year. I was playing it real cool, but was definitely jumping out of my skin when I got to meet you. I'd love to enjoy a beer with you.
I enjoy meeting Noah. He has a cool look about him. And he has a vibe. I like him.
You ready for the hard question then?
Yeah.
Okay, my hard question for you is, in the past year doing this show, what have you learned about yourself?
I've learned a lot about radio. because people in television think they can do anything. They think they can do PR. We could go to law school. We can write a book. We can do radio. We can, because we've done television. We are the gods of broadcast. Turns out that's not true. It's hard to write books. I can only imagine going to law school. And radio takes a certain, especially with three of us, takes a certain way of approaching it that is not television. You have to keep it going. You have to count on your cohorts. But I have a tendency to think, well, if people are going to know we're live, then it's okay to step all over each other. That way they know we're live. But when you're listening to radio, it sounds like crap. so you don't want to step all over each other. You have to kind of get your cues and your signals from each other in order to make the show go. The same with our callers and reading the text when we do, and just making the show flow. And I think we've all done a great job of doing that. But it is really teamwork.
Did he avoid my question? Do you think
no, I think it's just
I want to know what you learned about you.
About me?
Did you find positions that you took that you thought, wow, I hadn't thought that way through. And has there been growth in the brain of Frank Billingsley?
Well, this station has never told me what to say or what not to say.
Right.
They've always said, we welcome your opinion. A lot of our listeners do welcome your opinion, and say what you want. Keep it clean. And that has been revelatory because I've always been a big mouth, especially with my opinions. And so to be able to get on here and say, you know what, either you believe transgender is a thing or it isn't. I believe we are who we are. Yeah. I don't think you could turn me transgender if you gave me a million different dress options or a million different options for it. That's not who I am. But if somebody feels that they are, they should have the option to be transgender. Same thing with gay and straight. No matter how many beautiful women you introduce me to, I'm just going to want to go for coffee. And look at, any straight guy will tell you the same thing. You can show me a million hot guys. I'm not interested. I am not that. So we are who we are. And this show has allowed us all to be who we are and express who we are. Yeah. And I think that's been one of the real learning things, that you can not only be who you are, you can say it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to let you answer this question that came in from Sean, who wanted to know, who's your celebrity hall pass? So we'll just let that one sit there.
Actually, we can ask it in a little bit.
Yeah, when we're in the break.
I know what that means.
Yes, I know you do. People continue to share with us. Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
Here's something a little bit easier, a little more palatable. Cosme713 says, good luck, Frank. What's your favorite place to eat in Houston?
Well, I go to Damaris Barbecue every Monday night, almost.
Oh, I don't know if I would say that, Frank. You're going to have a whole crew with you.
There are two of them.
So you got to figure it out.
Yeah, but you know that when you're between shows trying to get a quick bite, that was always really just a go-to for us on Mondays. Yeah. And so I enjoy that. And Barnaby's is one of my favorite. Mm-hmm. I loved Eloise Nichols until it closed. But now Federal American Grill has replaced it, and they're fantastic. So there's always something good.
So it's funny, you talk about dinner between shows. And for years, when you were on the news, we were always like, we should go grab dinner. We should grab dinner. And I never wanted to do it because I always felt like for you to do it would put yourself out because you had to leave the station, go eat, and then get, because you were on the 5 o'clock slots and then over at 10 o'clock, so you only had that little window. So I never took advantage of that. I think once we did.
Yeah,
and
the whole time
the whole time I was nervous, like, oh my God, he's got to go. He's doing this for us. So now we see each other every single day. I'm like, I don't want to have a meal with you.
This question is for Ernie. This is from Lakeisha Lewis, who says, Ernie, this is now is there an interview featuring Frank Billingsley?
There was, actually. When you first came here, the very first interviews we did was I sat down and interviewed you for this coming into the show.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know. Did we ever air that?
No.
No? Because by the time we got everything in order to do it, you had already been here a while. I figured people knew who you were.
I look over at Jim, our executive producer, and he shook. Nope,
never did air it. But you know what? Now we can do it
Now
again.
I can come back as a guest.
Now you can be a guest. Or anytime you want to
catch up with Frank.
What's Frank been doing since Thursday? Those kind of shows.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, and we have one more. Frank, my dog, Photon, and I will miss you. As we used to say in the Navy, we wish you fair winds and following seas. Even more appropriate for a meteorologist. Richard from Magnolia.
I love that saying. Yeah, that's very nice.
What is it you're most looking forward to now?
Not having a schedule.
Yeah.
That's really kind of what it's all about for us. Just, Kevin's now without a schedule. He retired, and he'd like for me to be without a schedule, and I'm going to be without one, and so we can sort of do what we want when we want. And I love doing the show, but this is the kind of show with the cameras that you can't just do it from your couch. You have to be here, and you have to give it your time. And time is one thing that we all would love to have more of, and you can't buy it, right?
Earlier, somebody said in a comment something to the effect of about doing a morning weather show, just a podcast of the weather each day. Would you think about stuff like that? Go in and have your own, or it's just the freedom?
I've noticed on the Today Show, Craig Melvin and the woman that does the weather, I can't think of her name. They're both doing podcasts. Yeah, Dylan. They're both started, I guess, weekly podcasts. Maybe a weekly podcast would be fun because you could do I could do that from the study.
Yeah,
we'll see what Frank does next.
Yeah.
But coming up next on Hello Houston, today is Good Friday, and to give us the reason for the season, we welcome back author and public theologian Sean Palmer next. Stay with us. This is News 88.7.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Voice of Bart Simpson. I gave him one take, one sound, one voice, and that was it. Blah, 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 blah. And Matt, his eyebrows went up, his tongue came out of his mouth. He's like, oh my God, that's him, that's Bart, that's him. You got the part.
The most interesting people in show business tell their stories on Fresh Air. Fresh Air, weekdays at 8 p.m. on News 88.7.
Relive the Grand Tour.
They would take fencing lessons, they would take dancing lessons, they would be introduced to court.
Use new technology to arrange your travels.
You might be hearing about visa waiver programs that have come in Europe recently.
And see what's new at Barcelona's Sagrada Familia.
It's a shiny new object in the skyline of the city, in fact, the highest.
On the next Travel with Rick Steves.
It's on tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
And now back to Hello Houston. Join the conversation. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
Today is Good Friday, a solemn day in the Christian calendar marking the crucifixion of Jesus. It comes at the end of a sacred week that began with Palm Sunday and includes Maundy Thursday, commemorating the Last Supper and leads into Easter, the celebration of resurrection. But these traditions are always deeply connected to Passover, an ancient Jewish festival of liberation and remembrance. To help us understand the meaning behind this season, we welcome back author and public theologian Sean Palmer. Sean, welcome back to Hello Houston.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And if you have questions or concerns or want to understand aspects of this holiday a little bit better, give us a call, 713-440-8870.
We had a simple question. It seems awkward to say Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday.
Yeah. Given that this is the day that Christ was crucified. But that's okay, right?
Yeah. Actually leaving the house this afternoon, my wife was headed to a Good Friday service, and I told her, have a good service. And she says, I'm going to a funeral. And I was
interesting. Yeah.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah. But that's what we do on Good Friday. And I told her, well, it's not your funeral. So,
it's your salvation.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's your salvation.
Yeah. So happy Good Friday, because part of the reason we call it Good Friday is not because a crucifixion, a state execution is good. but because of what came out of it. So all through the Christian tradition, there are these symbols, names, words that themselves represent something horrific. But because of what people will celebrate on Sunday, resurrection, that idea itself has been redeemed. So years ago, a comedian had a joke about you don't see people walking around with wearing little electric chairs, but Christians walk around with crosses.
Crosses, right. Yeah.
Well, because what Jesus does on the cross in the Christian tradition is redeem death, burial, life, and so it celebrates something. And it's also throughout history a corruption of the word good, of God rather. And so over years, what used to be God Friday has become Good Friday.
It's kind of like Happy Passover. You know, it's really celebrates the release of the slaves, the Jewish slaves, and that the firstborns of the Jewish people were saved by God because the angel of death passed over those households. But it seems kind of weird to say Happy Passover, but you know, it has a deeper meaning.
And just as a point of reference for Orthodox Christians, we say Holy Friday. We don't use the Good Friday for the very reasons of what we're discussing here.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're talking about Good Friday, and that's something that a lot of people know about. We also talk about Easter. A lot of people, whether you're religious or not, you know, these are kind of terms that we use. Talk to us a little bit about Maundy Thursday, because I feel like that's very much less widely understood and really what it means and commemorates.
Yeah, so Maundy Thursday, which if you haven't been to a Maundy Thursday service, mark it on your calendar for next year. You missed this year's. That was
yesterday.
That was yesterday.
So you have a year to wait.
That's right. So you got some time to gear up for it. And so what happens on Maundy Thursday is Jesus gathers his disciples for Passover, for the Passover meal. And then he performs this strange act, which you would not expect from a Jewish teacher at the time, where he disrobes, wraps a cloth around his waist, and goes and washes the disciples' feet. We have this reaction from Peter, who says, "Oh, you know, don't wash my feet." And Jesus says, "I have to, or you have no part of me." And when he's done, he says, "This command I give you, love each other like I have loved you." He says, go and do this for others. And that is in the original language. I mispronounce this all the time. Memoratum, but it means command, which we get the word Maundy from. So what we celebrate on Maundy Thursday is Jesus giving the command to his disciples to love the world as he has loved the world, to demonstrate that kind of sacrificial service to you, because in the ancient world, washing a guest's feet is the lowest form of service. You would never, people would not want to wash someone else's feet for lots of reasons. Dust, animal feces, all sorts of things get on the feet. And so for someone who is your Lord and master, your teacher, to wash your feet and say, now go into the world in the same posture, in the same vein of service that I have demonstrated to you, really was pretty incredible and an incredible example. And obviously this is all leading to the cross.
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, that Last Supper was a Seder. Because Jesus was Jewish. And so it would have been, I guess, right after the Passover in those times, and celebrating that Passover. That's just so, I don't know, it all gets jumbled for me because, we're Jesus having a Seder supper for the Passover, and here he is about to be crucified the next day, and knowing it, according to the Bible, and then it happening. It's a pretty, if you think about it, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, you shouldn't be shocked to get confused. There are a lot of events happening, right close to one another, especially all during Holy Week. Right? So there are Gospels where half the Gospel is just the last week of Jesus' life.
Yeah, Palm Sunday.
It's really a beautiful story of how a teacher demonstrates to his disciples what life actually should look like. And that was not uncommon And something we actually need more of in our world today is someone to demonstrate to us how to best live.
So much of our religion comes out of faith and tradition, symbolism. Outside of our religious texts, what do we actually know of a historic Jesus? Because I've seen arguments back and forth because of the amounts of time, the records that were kept in the days. There's no mention of so much of this. And yet others will say, oh, no, it's all out there. What do we know from outside of religious texts of history?
This is a great question for a historian, which I am not, and there are many wonderful ones. But we do have records of a Jesus of Nazareth. We do have records of crucifixion. But that's not actually the major focus for Christians, in that we're not searching for historicity. And it's important to have. It's important to have evidence to go different kinds of evidence. But the reality is the Bible, what the writers of the Bible, especially the Gospels, do is actually some of the best history that you can find, because they are actually doing history as contemporaries of theirs did history at the time. And so if you could try and read the Gospels as historical documents themselves, it's a different way of understanding the world than what we all got in history class and dates and times, and that was on the test. But that's really very much like what the rest of the world was doing as historical documentation at the time.
Does it ultimately matter if all of this lines up? Or is it the lessons, the messages, the stories, the impact it is telling and sharing, as opposed to what happened on this date and with who?
I think it depends on the person. I think there are some of us, my father was a history teacher early in his career. I love history. I think there are some of us for whom that deeply matters. And there are others of us who are just on a spectrum of how much it matters and what it is that we're searching for and desire. So I never want to say Christians, I'll put it this way. Christians don't have faith in faith. Like whenever someone just says like, you ought to have more faith. Well, like faith in what? And so there is a destination and an origination for all of this. And what Easter represents is that Christians don't have faith in faith. We don't have faith in a book. We have faith that a historical event happened, that there was a person named Jesus who died and 3 days later was resurrected. And so faith did not give us Christians. An event gave us Christians.
Right.
And so it's important to know whether or not that event is a plausible reality in the history of the world that we inhabit.
So, Sean, you're a pastor, a public theologian, an author. You're also a father, a husband, a son. And I'm curious, what does this week mean to you personally?
Well, this week is incredibly interesting, this particular week for me, because it's the first time in 30 years that I don't have any church responsibilities on Easter.
Right.
I'm about to be on that track.
And I was like, I don't even know what to do.
Right.
Well, your congregation just became a lot bigger. You're on the radio sharing it, so you're still doing the work.
And so our daughters my two daughters are both away at college. They're coming home. And so we have all of these traditions in our family that are around Easter, and some are religious and some aren't at all, but bigger for me. And Celeste, you know this. Like I had a series of health events at the end of last year. And so here's what I've learned since December 13th of last year, that on December 13th, I should have died. Then I've learned after that I should have never been born. And then I learned after that even if I had been born, I should have died before I was 35.
How did you learn all this?
Well, it started with a pulmonary embolism that was actually really bad, like according to my team of doctors that I have now. Like it was pretty significant.
Wow.
And just in all of the imaging. it was discovered that I have a birth defect in my heart, because embolisms put a lot of pressure on the heart, called anomalous aortic origin of the right coronary artery, which is basically my right ventricle has never done anything. Wow. And so you have two ventricles, as you know, left and right. When I was in my mother's womb, I grew an extra artery under my left ventricle to pump blood over to my right side, and the right ventricle has not ever done anything. And so what Easter means for us this year is really looking at why it is that we are here in a more existential.
Sure.
Right. And so because I believe in Maundy, Thursday and Easter, that my life is meant to be something for others.
Do you believe we're born with predetermined purpose?
Ooh, that's so Presbyterian.
From the Orthodox.
I grew up Presbyterian.
I do believe in things like the Westminster Catechism. What is the chief aim of man? Is to love God and serve him forever. And so in a grand sense, absolutely. I think everyone has a purpose. I think God and your mom are the only ones who think that you're a special snowflake in the universe. And they both should. And so we are all, I don't believe in, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
If there's just one thing you're supposed to do with your life. And the scriptures say you do have a purpose, but that purpose is big enough to fit a lot of different things in. God allows, and this is part of what we celebrate at Easter, which is really difficult for a lot of people, where a lot of people actually struggle with faith, is God seems really big on giving people choices and allowing them to make their choices.
Man's free will.
And there is no scripture, there's no story of the Bible without God saying there's something that you can only become if you are allowed to make your choices. And so whether you take a job in Dallas or take a job in Houston, God can bless both those choices.
Even the one in Dallas.
I wouldn't,
Dallas.
As I've told people, if you ever see me living in Dallas, you know God called me there.
It's the only way I would go, right?
But that also puts a lot of pressure then, feeling like, okay, if you have a job in Dallas or you have a job in Houston and God's going to bless both, then where do you turn for guidance, for spiritual guidance in that space?
Well, you want to thank God that God is capable of blessing both. And there are some things that you actually don't need guidance on. And people live this way all of the time. Like, you don't need guidance on whether to beat your children. Like, you just know that's wrong.
Right.
Right. So you don't have to, this is misunderstood both within and outside of faith. Like, you actually don't need to check in with God about everything, because some things, as the scriptures would say, that God has made clear. And if you are feeling like, I've got two really good choices, you want to thank God that you've got two really good choices. God's not going to abandon somebody because they went left instead of right for something that God can bless either way. That's, enormous pressure to think I've got to get every jot and tittle down, or I'm going to be left by God, or I'm going to be abandoned. It's not going to turn out well. Or, if I only hadn't worn white shoes that day, whatever it is, that's actually not how God's will works. So there is what we would call like God's perfect will. And that's the things that we talk about with Easter, that God is up to something large cosmically. And then there's God's permissive will, where it's like you actually get to have some agency in these decisions.
I have a question, and we probably don't have time to answer it, but can you be Christian and be suspect of Christianity in that, well, I'm not so sure about the virgin birth or walking on water or rising from the dead, but everything about Christianity appeals to me in its message?
Yeah. Well, that's multi-layered, so I'll go at it this way. there's one miracle that you have to believe to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And that's the resurrection.
Correct.
So Apostle Paul says in the New Testament, like, if we don't have the resurrection, then this is just like we're just all wasting our time.
Right. Right.
The other stuff, when people have questions and doubts, and actually have an article coming out on Easter about this, when people have questions and doubts, most of the time in their churches and in their families, they're mistreated for having those questions and doubts. When the reality is, if you take a story that churches will hear in the next couple of weeks about Thomas, one of the disciples of Jesus, the other disciples say, hey, we saw Jesus, he's resurrected, and he's like, show me, right?
The doubting Thomas.
And so he'll be doubting Thomas. But look at the reality of that. When he encounters Jesus, Thomas's doubt didn't lead him away from faith. Thomas's doubt led him to faith. And so he is the one who says, my Lord and my God at the end, which is what we've come to know throughout the years as an Orthodox confession of faith, that Jesus is Lord. He makes one of the first proclamations of an Orthodox confession of faith in the scriptures. And it's his doubt that got him there, not his certainty. And the poor guy just missed one meeting. And
that's all we say around here.
I got a quick, easy question for you. I've done the math a bunch of times. How do I get from Friday to Sunday? And that's 3 days.
It was in the ancient world, a day was counted for any part of the day. So Jesus dies on Friday, day 1. He's in the tomb on Saturday, day 2. He is resurrected. So the scriptures say that Jesus was raised on the 3rd day. So
all right.
Had nothing to do with a Rolex, Ernie.
No, I really want to have Easter on Monday. That's all I'm saying.
You're wanting the extra day off?
Yeah, just one more day. I'm doing the math.
You got to watch the 10 Commandments, Ernie.
Oh, then I'll know all about Passover. And I'll be doing that Saturday
Hey, Sean,
night.
good luck to you and your future.
Oh, thank you very much. And blessings on you as you transition to a wonderful, from what I hear, a wonderful phase of life. I can tell you, I've enjoyed for 4 months not having a schedule every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just following in Sean's footsteps.
Sean Palmer is an author and public theologian. Sean, it's always great to have you on Hello Houston.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And coming up, we live in the city that never stops, and we have you covered for your last-minute plans. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
It's not just your car. It's the one that brought your kids home from school, took you cross-country, held memories, laughter, even a few breakdowns. When it's time to let go, give your car a new purpose. Donate it and turn memories into meaningful support for this station. Plus, you'll enjoy free and easy pickup, potential tax benefits, and a simple donation process. Your gift supports the programs you and your family love. Donate today and help keep public media strong. Call or donate online.
Next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour, the United States, Ukraine, and Russia, and now throw Iran into the mix.
Iran has played such a huge role in enabling Russia's war against Ukraine. So now, when Iran is under attack, Russia is reportedly sending drones to Iran to help them out.
I'll talk with the Ukrainian journalist Olga Rudenko next time on the New Yorker Radio Hour.
Sunday morning at 9.
Houston Matters highlights the people, places, issues, and ideas that define Greater Houston. And we do it live on the air weekday mornings at 9 on News 88.7. But we know you're not always available then to listen. So subscribe to our podcast wherever you get yours, or find each day's program to stream online at your leisure at HoustonPublicMedia.org. And reach out with questions or comments anytime. Email us at talk@HoustonMatters.org.
Houston Public Media, in partnership with Texas Southern University, brings to you The Vibe, R&B, hip-hop, and neo-soul, music that resonates with all ages. The Vibe on 88.7 HD3 and on the Houston Public Media app.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Metro, introducing the Ride Metro Fare Card. The Ride Metro Fare system replaces the Metro Q Fare Card for bus and rail fares. Details at ridemetro.org/fare system.
And now back to Hello Houston. To share your thoughts on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Díaz Schurman, and Frank Billingsley.
You don't have to.
You're on the radio,
Oh,
Frank.
yes.
How long have you been doing this? A year now?
We're back. Guess who just walked into the studio?
Who?
My husband, Kevin Gilliard.
The much talked about
I know.
Kevin is finally in the house.
I exist.
What I've said to him before, he should come on because his opinions are far more left-wing than mine. and he gives me the courage to say some of the things I say.
No, I always say, watch what you say.
Remember, everyone, it is Last Minute Plans on Friday. If you've got last minute plans, maybe yours are like ours. It's just simply celebrating Frank Billingsley as he goes into yet another retirement. We invite you to call and share your last minute plans with us, or even just to call and wish Frank. This is your last 11 minutes to do it, to say goodbye to Frank on this program.
So who talked you into coming into the studio, Kevin?
Jim,
here's the story, though, and you correct me if I get this right. You and Jim were at Humble High School together, and you're a year older, and you both ran for president of the school?
student council.
And he beat you.
He beat me.
That was like the first thing he said. When I interviewed here, I sat down, he said, I beat your husband for student council president.
It was so unfair because he had, 4 siblings in the school, and it was just me and my sister. So everybody knew one of his family member in their grade. So
that is not fair. Jim didn't tell me that part.
Yeah.
But
just
look
like
who won.
always,
You married me, so look who won.
It matters who you can motivate to go to the polls. Quick reminder, special election for
Tomorrow.
District C. The election is tomorrow. If you haven't voted in the early voting, make sure you go out and vote. Easy, look online, see if you're in District C. You probably are. A huge swath of this city is District C.
We were G for 30 years, and now we're C, so we have to go vote tomorrow.
But a lot of people know who Frank is, but they don't know who the man behind Frank is. And I want to talk to us a little bit about, Kevin, for a very long time you supported Frank in making sure that he had everything he needed to be his best self on air. Talk to us about that and what that journey's been like for you.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. No, it was great. We've been together 30 years, and so we're just truly a team.
Yeah.
And so when I need him, he's there, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you came with a 7-year-old.
I came with a 7-year-old.
Who's now 38. I know.
Wow, you just keep going on about my age,
oh
don't
my God,
you?
yesterday he
I
just
know.
wouldn't stop.
Botox,
And then you even texted
I'm going to be
him.
60. It's
Yeah,
like,
you text him stop, and then so he had to read that text on the air.
But you've been on the journey through the transitions and different things, and so what does it mean for you to now kind of be going with Frank into this new chapter? You guys are going to travel. You're going to have some time together.
I'm looking forward to it. With me not working, going to the grocery store, running errands because he has a job.
Right.
It's kind of lonely.
Yeah.
And so, for like last 6 months, I'm like, I'm getting kind of tired of this.
Yeah.
And I'll be somewhere and it's like, do I want to buy this pillow? If he was there, he could say yes or no. It's not me taking it home and then having to return it.
Yeah.
So just the day-to-day tasks and taking care of the dogs together and things like that, I'm looking forward to.
Frank and I were joking earlier today about 6 weeks after his last retirement, he's on the phone with me about what's out there. And so we're like, 6 weeks, you're going to call me? He's like, no, it's going to be Kevin calling you this time. It's been 6 weeks. Can you find something for him to do?
He's been at home too much. I've got to get him out of here.
Yeah, move him along.
I'll be crawling back saying, please, let me come back to work.
I'll pay you guys. It'll be ransom of Red Chief.
Yeah.
Take him.
So what haven't we learned about Frank this year on the air? Frank has been pretty open with a lot of his opinions and thoughts. Is there anything we don't know about him yet that you think we should know?
Frank's an open book.
He pretty much is.
His cancer journey, adoption. He really talks about everything, and I've always liked that about him. I can't give it. The tattoo, I'm surprised you hadn't talked about.
See, I think we did.
Did you?
I don't think we did. I think we talked about it during a break.
Yeah.
And we always get messages from our YouTube community saying, what do y'all chat about?
Frank's tattoo.
Little tidbits about ourselves.
Well, Kevin's thought about it. He hasn't quite gotten there, a tattoo, but he's been thinking now and then, like a little small. You could put mom on your ankle or something.
I get mom.
We had a comment that came in over from our YouTubers, and they're saying, congrats on retirement, Frank. All the YouTubers will miss you dearly. Maybe see about joining Space City Weather. No. If you're going to go anywhere, you're coming right back here, Franklin.
Well, you're just right for that one. That's Eric Berger's. You know, Lanza left to go up to Connecticut. So
but he hasn't left He's still
going to ride it?
Yeah, he's still going to ride it. I think he's just
So they don't have an
locations.
opening anyway.
They don't have an opening.
Tell everyone what you did for a living, Kevin.
Human resources.
And why did you finally not want to do it? You could be honest.
People are very needy these days and not happy about anything.
Yeah.
And they're vocal about it, and they want the world. And it's just like, wow, that's not the real world. You can't get a 50% increase after you've been working somewhere for a year.
Right.
That's what I found out. That's why
it came more and more of that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I just can't continue doing this.
We have another comment. Noah Espinoza writes in, Kevin, you legit look so young. We talk about this all the time, how you found the fountain of youth. Don't let the age thing weigh on you, your mental. You're gonna live to be 200 and barely look 70.
I don't want to live to be 200, but hey.
You don't want to barely look 70 ever.
Yeah.
So,
well, your mom's 89, and
she's going to be glad you said that too.
And she looks she does look 70, and she looks terrific.
Did you ever feel like maybe, like for example, right now you're like, maybe I don't want that to be on air? How do you handle that? I mean, because Frank really has had a long career.
I've known he's just going to talk about everything anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever said don't say that. But I think if I did, he'd say it anyway. So
you've rolled your eyes to me about saying, "Oh, why is he saying that?"
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's been going on. Okay, weekend plans is what we usually do in this slot. So what do you guys have planned for the weekend?
We don't have anything planned right now. He's going to be retired. We can rest.
You can say church and just fake it.
Easter Sunday Mass.
Yeah.
No.
But if you are looking for some weekend plans, on Saturday, the Houston Symphony, Disney's Fantasia is in concert at the Jones Hall, and that's going to be performed live by the Houston Symphony. The animated classic will play on the big screen.
Oh, that's awesome.
As the symphony performs. My kids love Disney's Fantasia. Have y'all? I'm sure everybody has seen it. You've never
seen Fantasia?
Nope. What's it about?
Wow, a year in and we're still learning new things. How have you? And
okay, I have a fun fact. Frank's never seen Fantasia.
Everyone dragged poor Celeste over the coals for having not seen Back to the Future, and you haven't seen Fantasia.
We are going to a new restaurant tonight. Exilio.
Where are you going?
Exilio. Exilio.
Nice.
We were invited to go. It's
have fish. It's Good Friday.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, we don't do that either.
Yeah.
Sound like a great Christian.
Tomorrow night, my big thing is we are gathering, as we've talked about, to watch the 10 Commandments for the 400th time. Love all 4 hours of it. Every time a new edit comes out, if it's got an extra minute and a half, I have to have that version of it. I want to see it as long as possible.
And we're going to Michael and Scott's brunch on Sunday for Easter, and then going to Bunny's on the Bayou. That's going to be kind of a wet event, but we'll hope for the best.
Yes, and then if you want to take a photo with the Easter Bunny, there's breakfast with the Easter Bunny at Downtown Aquarium.
I want to do that.
You'll be able to meet and greet the Easter
Wait, is that
Bunny.
Sunday? Can we go from Bunnies on the Bayou to the biggest gay event for Easter to that?
I think that would be fun.
Kevin just rolled his eyes.
Rolled my eyes.
All weekend long, the Easter
I
weekend.
forgot I'm not at home.
Kemah Boardwalk. Careful, the camera will catch you rolling your eyes, I've been told. So Easter weekend at Kemah Boardwalk, there will be lots of Easter activities, including Easter-themed scavenger hunts, Easter bunny photos, and candy, hop, crafts, everything.
Are you going to have your own Easter egg hunt at the house?
Yes, our neighborhood will do one today.
Nice.
My kids are actually, I was just going to say, Disney on Ice. Jump in at NRG Stadium. Mickey and friends are going to take their guests, so my kids are there now. And we're just
I am going
to
cut this short right now just to say, because Celeste and I have not had our moment. To thank you, Frank, for the last year of joy, of fun, of never having a clue what you're going to say. So if people think we map all of this out ahead of time, we have no idea what's coming out of Frank's mouth. And it has been enlightening, surprising, fun, combative even at moments. And it's just been a joy to have you here with us.
I see you look at each other now and then. I sit between you if people out there don't know. And so everything, I do have, perception.
But you and I look at each other.
Yeah,
I mean, you two look at each other.
But I can look at you like this when Ernie's being silly. I can look at you like this when Celeste. But I see you two look at each other when I'm saying something, and your look will be like, "What the heck is coming out of that man's mouth?"
It has been an absolute pleasure and honor to work next to you, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we get to see each other again.
We're going to.
Will. I bet
we were
you
friends
will.
before this. I certainly hope we're still friends
Well,
after.
work together in some capacity as we go on through life.
Thank
and
you,
that
Frank.
brings us to the end of our show.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings us to the end of Hello Houston and my run with them. In the meantime, you can catch the best of Hello Houston Saturdays at 1 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. here on News 88.7. Have a great holiday weekend.
Celeste and I will be back on Monday. Hope you join us.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media.
At Marketplace, we help you understand what's going on in the economy and why. There is no topic too large or too small, whether it's the housing market, jobs, interest rates, even the prices we are paying at the grocery store.